54 years, Until Quick's been consolidated. There's been 3 boys coaches, Rudy Perhall and me and Brad. And girls, Betty Nielsen, Osier, and Jackie. So it's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. There's only 3 coaches, and I think that's has a lot to do with our success too. So
our tradition here is we're going to win games.
We ended up, over the years, had some good coaches that were able to establish that tradition, and then it starts to snowball.
Kids respected them, and they respected the kids too. So I think that was kind of the key to success there.
If we're gonna do it, we might as well do it to win. That's what I figured, And they bought into that philosophy.
In general, I don't think my record against either Nancy or Bimbo is something to crow about too much.
The winningest coach in UP history. Nancy and I are both there. She's the winningest girls coach and I'm the winningest boys coach.
I was very, very fortunate. I just had a lot of talent, girls that were very willing to work, and they made me look good. I coached here for, I believe, 29 years.
Did you have any losing seasons?
Here at Ewan, maybe 3 or 4 losing seasons. 1? Oh, okay.
Nancy probably had to build her tradition a little bit. Once she got that thing going, it was pretty tough.
Nancy, that was the culture that she, had at ETC, was a culture of winning. She was a winning coach.
Nancy, as one of the winningest most coaches in the state of Michigan, is, nobody does that anymore. Nobody does that. She could have went on and coached college basketball if she wanted to. That's how good she was. She knew the sport in and out. She could drop a play in the huddle. If we had something that was going on and we needed a last-minute shot, she'd have it done in a heartbeat.
She was pretty smart. She had all these tools and these tricks that she would come out with to get you to understand the game. One year, I can't remember who we were playing, but they had a pretty big, tall lineup. And I remember she had the boys come in for practice and they held tennis rackets. And we had to learn to shoot over tennis rackets.
She was very much, you're gonna work your butt off, and if you don't, you're not gonna be playing.
She set that tone, and you didn't cross her.
When we'd have a huddle, she was about this close from your face when she was mad at you, and her face was red as a beet. There'd be spit flying all over the place, and you did not want to look at her, especially if you did something wrong. And believe me, we all did something wrong all the time. The record might not show it, but we did. We did make mistakes.
I can recall being in here one time and we were, I don't know if we were ahead, but we were certainly a little more competitive than she felt we should have been. And she gave them what for to them, and they responded.
In those early days, you just grabbed them and kind of chewed them out a little bit, and
She was the boss. She'd tell you something and you listened. I remember one game, she grabbed me and said, "Get that ball to meet us." And she threw me past the scorer's table, like, put me in. So, all right, that's my job. I will get that ball to Mel.
I guess I didn't know any better, and you just kind of chewed them out. I'm sure Melanie can tell you a few stories.
I did get yelled at lots.
Ask her about what it was like to come into a timeout and be busy looking at your friends in the stands rather than listening to your coach.
I had a bunch of friends here from another school that were actually sitting behind the bench, and they should have never sat there. And I did say something, because they said something to me, and I said something back to them, and I just said, do you want to go sit up there with them? And I was like, no. But yeah, she always gave me a hard time about that.
She was, you know, a demanding coach. She wanted us at our best all the time. I do recall one time that I was late for practice, and her rule was, for every minute that you're late, you have to run wind sprints for that amount of time. And 15 minutes of running wind sprints, I was not late again. So
Yeah, practices were pretty brutal. She didn't let up on us.
Yep, the medicine ball came out, and if you didn't catch it, your face stopped it.
The medicine ball. I think somebody finally destroyed it so they didn't have to use that anymore. One day I came and I think it was just all.
She had high expectations, but she did everything she could to help us get there. And I think that is significant in a coach. She expected success, but she worked just as hard as we did to get there.
She was tough, and she was tough on you because she wanted you to be better. It's totally understandable. But she cared about each one of her players.
This program was going before I got here, and I'm quite sure this program will keep going after I've left.
You know, I saw how good of a coach she really was. I think she really got the most out of each kid based on their personality. But she's just a really good person. Kind, easygoing, just so easy to be around. So there was that part of her too. You know, so she would be tough and she would teach you basketball, but then when you're at, you know, team camp in the summer, she would be able to sit there and laugh with you and tell jokes and stuff. So she was just a really positive influence on my high school career.
She's a very smart coach. I learned a ton from her. You know, everything she taught us was true.
Yeah, she made her mark. She made her mark, and then she got into the Hall of Fame. I don't know if anybody's ever really going to top her. I would love to have that little bit of push in me like she had.
And I think the relationship between her and Tom Caudill was a friendly rivalry because they were both so successful. They both wanted to see each other's teams do well, but they liked to poke at each other as well.
People always thought that Tom and I would probably be battling and fighting all the time, but they never realized
We got
along great.
Even when they put the girls in our season.
Yes.
We never had a problem.
We never had a problem.
We'd practice in the morning.
Yeah.
Give her the gym. Then I could go hunting.
Then you wanted to go hunting. There was a reason behind it.
I taught school and coached basketball here for 40 years, so I put a lot of hours in this building right here.
Tom worked really hard at coaching, and he had a lot of great teams. And being under him, a lot of great players came out of Uintah Creek.
I am grateful for Coach Caudill. The biggest thing that I think he did for me is he created even gained confidence in myself and what I could do. He was always positive for me to do something, and I can't thank him enough for that.
Some of them you didn't have to push it all. They spent hours and hours and hours in the gym. The games were easy compared to my practices. We'd be running and gunning for 3 hours almost every day. It was a badge of honor. Come here at 5:30 in the morning in the middle of the winter and have Caudill yell at you for an hour, or 2 hours, or 3 hours, and then go to school. Have to go to school all day. Or in deer season, they'd come to practice, then they'd go back to deer camp where their dad was. I used to tell them back in the 80s, hey, 5 guys that shoot the biggest bucks, you get to start the first game. They took it seriously.
Those early morning practices, yes, those were intense. But you get into the dog days of the year where maybe we're a little lax, you know, to start practice off, and he wouldn't have it, you know, he wouldn't be having it. So, and he would let you know right away that that's not how we're going to practice. You know, he'd let you know that he'd rather go hunting if you were going to play like that.
I know Bimbo let you know when he was around, because he could yell with the best of them.
And he is a yeller. You know, there's no doubt about that. He's always yelling. Anything he thought came out of his mouth.
Uncle Bimbo, yeah. I think sometimes my job was to keep him in the coaching box. I do remember one time we were on the road in Baraga, and he wasn't listening to me at all, and I just gave up and let him get a technical foul. And I remember going to the locker room at halftime or something, and one of the fans did tell me, you didn't do your job. You gotta keep him in the coaching box.
He was loud, vocal. Back then the coaches weren't supposed to stand up, and so me and Timmy Pocus usually subbed in for each other. So whoever wasn't on the floor had to sit next to him, and as soon as he stood up, grab him by the belt and put him back down. Well, it got in a few minutes when I thought I should have been in the game, and he stood up and I slammed him down. He looked at me, he said, "Get in the game."
There's another thing that I had a reputation for. I broke a couple of clipboards, a couple on the floor, a couple on my head, and when I was frustrated. But the boys got the point. So Caudill broke the clipboard on his head, so he's not happy. Come to my practice once. I yell at them for 3 hours, but they get tuned in. If I want to switch on defense, they get the message.
We came out strong, playing super defense. We hit all the shots we took. We do that a lot in our gym.
When Coach Caudill was here, it was Ewan ball, which was run and gun, press hard, and go.
I like to mix it up. I'd play 4 different defenses at once. I'd play a 1-3-1 zone, a stack 2-3 zone, a man-to-man. The other team didn't know what the hell was going on. They wouldn't. Every time down the floor, they're in a different defense. Why is that? Well, because we came here to beat you, that's why. So
we really don't care, we're just happy to be there.
Well, I love him. He knew how to handle people. He knew how to handle us. Everybody's the armchair quarterback, and they say that, coaching this and coaching that. And perhaps he made some poor decisions with other teams, but he knew how to handle us.
He was dedicated to us being the best team that we could. Wouldn't have had it any other way.
And I think that's what Jackie and Brad have kind of reestablished here is, you have coaches that are willing to put in a lot of time and effort from the youth program up to the varsity program.
It makes me feel good that some of my former players stuck around and coached a little bit, so I hope I taught them something.
I felt the responsibility when Coach Caudill handed over the keys to the program because it's been nothing but successful, and I was definitely feeling that responsibility when I started, and my wife and I have worked pretty hard to keep that tradition alive.
It's just been a lot of fun. Brad and I knew we wanted to come back to our small area. We have family here and we loved our school. And then both of us coach, we love it. It's really it's what we wanted in life, and it's what ETC is known for. It's basketball.
Brad Besnan is the Ewan Trout Creek band director and boys varsity basketball coach. His wife, girls varsity coach Jackie Besnan, is the school's 3rd grade teacher. Jackie has been coaching the Panthers varsity since 2010. Brad started in the 2008-09 campaign.
Brad was a very good player for me, and one of the dedicated ones.
My biggest reason for becoming a coach is I love basketball. I absolutely am head over heels over basketball. If there's a game on, I'll watch it. I love the X's and O's of the sport. Even more than that, I love the team aspect of the sport. My favorite word, grind. If you're gonna do well in team sports, you have to have a certain level of willingness to grind as far as practice, working on your skills, working on your deficiencies. And I love coaching that. I love player development, just everything about the sport. I don't know. I don't think there's anything better.
And Brad does a great job. The program that they've had, and he's kept going throughout the years. They might have a down year here or there, but it's just that buildup of how much communities care about the programs and about young athletes.
I can't say enough about Brad because he coached me through how to coach. And we have exactly opposite, not exactly opposite, but vastly different views of how to go about things, which is, I think, part of the reason we work okay together, because he would never do what I do, and I would never probably do what he does. So we're able to kind of keep each other in check and question one another.
My check and balance always is my good friend Dave Pokey, who's been my assistant since I started. And I always like to run stuff by him when I'm, really critiquing somebody and maybe thinking about making kind of a drastic switch that I know will cause ruffle some feathers and stuff. I'm not soft on our kids. I don't think I'm unfair with them. I think I'm pretty fair, and I think if you really hold kids accountable and really make them work, I think they can really find that, they might all feel like they're getting worked pretty hard, and they can kind of rally around that and come together.
Yeah, Coach Bessinen, loved playing for him. One of my favorite coaches still. He was, as I came in freshman, sophomore year, I was kind of struggling with the running, keeping up, that kind of stuff. He pushed me, and I didn't get along with him at times, which happens with coaches. After I graduated, I have the most respect for Coach Bessinen, because he's the guy that pushed me, to become the athlete I am today. He's a role model of mine for sure.
The second half, we told each other that we had to pick it up, and third quarter wasn't very good, but the fourth quarter we knew it was our last chance, so we just came out and gave it our all.
It sounds kind of funny, but when I first started coaching, it like transitioning, because I loved to play. First, I was like, oh, this is good. It's not the same as playing, but as you went on, it's awesome. Watching them progress was huge. Like the girls, how much they learn and work together and improve on whatever area you're looking at. It's been awesome, and obviously over the years, as you learn more as a coach, it just gets better and better. I don't want to say it's better than when you played, but it's you're just so proud of them and happy for them, and it's been awesome. My coaching style, I would say that I try to push those ladies as hard as they are willing to go, and that's important off and on the court, to respect each other. But I would say defense is always really important, and I'm not saying offense isn't, but defense is, if you're having that off night, is going to get you in the game and keep you there.
That was something special to know that one of my former ball players went on to play and have very successful years in college, and then come back home and follow in my footsteps, take over the team. Yes, that's a special thing as a coach to feel.
And she's been great to me as I've coached. She'll send me messages, she'll talk to me. She's always positive, and it's been a great relationship. And I think when you ask what kind of coaching style I have, it's modeled after her a lot, which makes sense because she did a great job and I respect her.
I think to me, just my greatest, to say an achievement in coaching is the fact that I feel I have good relationships with all of my former players, and we can talk good memories.
We wouldn't have gotten anywhere if we didn't have a coach like Nancy. We would have never gotten anywhere. When you make memories like that and you have a coach that has instilled so many things in people's lives, she made us the people that we are. I would say that I am, because I've instilled that in my kids, the things that she's taught over the years. Awesome person.
I look at where a lot of these girls are now, see the great lives they've gone on to. I like to think once in a while maybe I was a little bit of a part of encouraging their own confidence.
As a coach at my former school and keeping up the legacy, it's been really awesome, and it's paying off in what they're doing, and it's just so much fun. It really is.
I've been very blessed with what I've had and what I've been able to work with here. It's not normal. And I'm not too vain to know that that it's not me, it's this. And I hope I can just do my part to keep feeding it and keep it rolling.
It was never about me. Those kids made me famous, I guess, because they were willing to work hard. I love them all.
I feel I was very, very fortunate to have been a part of this school district, this community. I feel very fortunate that I, as a coach, can say that I loved being here.